Back in 2004, in junior high, I thought I was supposed to watch MTV. It was white noise for me. It was the channel that was just on in the background for most of junior high for me. And looking back at it now, the only two shows that I really remember fondly are Jackass and Viva La Bam. But those shows aren't what I'm focusing on. The flagship show, so to speak, of MTV was, or still is, The Real World, because, did you know? The Real World is still going on. I can't really remember much of the season of The Real World that I did watch back in 2004, and when I tried to look it up, I was racking my brain trying to even remember any names from that season that I could. I mean, for God's sakes, I remember plot points from Ed, Edd and Eddy, Powerpuff Girls, and Dexter's Lab better than I do from that one season of Real World. What I'm getting at is that The Real World had no lasting impact on my life. It means nothing, and I can barely remember it from what I watched. And I think that just goes to show the kind of show The Real World actually is, and kind of the product it really is at the end of the day. I'm not here to critique that season of The Real World, season 15, Philadelphia, if you were wondering. Mainly because I can't find a single episode of it online anywhere. There's no DVDs. There are DVDs for earlier seasons and newer seasons. There are streams. I can find it online for newer and older. Can't find it for this specific season, and so we're doing something completely different. What we're going to do instead is watch the first episode and the last episode of the oldest and most current seasons to see how the show has evolved. So we're going to do 4 episodes, one for each episode, and kind of see how things are different in terms of production and the quality of people. I'm only going to watch those 4 episodes because God knows I'm not going to fucking sit through that many hours of Real World. I can't take it. And plus, that would add so much time to making these episodes. So join me in this grand adventure of human garbage.
This is the true story. True story.
7 strangers picked to live in a loft
and have their lives taped
To find out what happens.
What?
When people stop being polite. Could you get the phone?
and start getting real.
The real world.
The intro to the show is really subdued? I don't know if that's the word I'm looking for, but it's minimalistic? You have what all of them say in the intro. I assume they still say this and have said this. There's like a hit of a musical note after they say their lines and they cut to the next person. Disjointed, uninteresting, boring, if I say so. But gotta give it a pass. It's the first episode. It's the first season of something they weren't sure would work. So, let's just kind of leave it at that,
I'm Julie, and I'm from Birmingham.
Julie's from the South, Alabama more specifically, and it's a typical Alabaman family. Dad's controlling, they're religious, they go to church. She's kind of rebelling against the dad. There's this tension you see back and forth between them.
What else is it you don't like about me?
I hate it that it took these people to get here to make you listen to what anybody else had to say about anything.
And honestly, it's interesting, I guess. I don't know how important it's going to be, but she's going to New York. She'll be a real big old fish out of water,
That he can check every day, and I think that's what we're going to do.
Yikes. He's so concerned about his daughter moving to New York that he's willing to have a friend see her on a constant basis to make sure she's okay and tell him about that. Then he is willing to trust his own daughter's words. Yikes.
Furniture, kitchen, rooms, bathrooms. It was like my house was just right here.
We have this guy here, Eric, and the first thing he does when he enters an apartment is describe what's in the apartment. Like he can't believe the certain amenities that are in the apartment. They got beds here. Oh, bathroom? I didn't know there was bathroom here. What is it, the bathtub? I didn't know I'd get a bathtub. Oh, look. Common area, little space. Oh, couch. There's a couch here. I didn't know you could fit couches in apartments. Whoa, kitchen? They have kitchens here? Whoa, amazing that they got a kitchen. whoa, it's just like my house, but really condensed. Come on, guy. It's an apartment. It's a loft. It's a loft. You know, it's gonna have bedrooms. It's gonna have things you'd think it would have. I'd be more concerned if you showed up and saw a bedroom and were surprised that you didn't know what this kind of room was, you know?
And I saw 5 other people, nothing like me or most of the people that I hang out with.
This is the funniest thing said in the entire episode, because Andre here is shocked that the 5 random strangers he's going to be living with don't look anything like him, and they don't look like his friends. Whoa, was he expecting to show up and everyone would be like-minded individuals and they'd all get along? Make for boring TV, I guess. I mean, you must have been going in with some expectations of not knowing what you were going to get. That's kind of the intrigue of the show, is watching strangers, people who might not agree with everything or be into the same things as you, get together and are forced to live together. They say it in the intro. It's the whole point of the show, man. What were you expecting? Come on!
What is that?
The beeper.
Do you sell drugs? Why do you have a beaver?
Yikes! We're just gonna start with that. That's everyone's all there together for the first time, and beeper goes off, and that's the first the words out of your mouth. Oh man, I don't know why it would have been marginally better than it is now, but this is kind of what we're working with in season 1 in 1992. You know, it is interesting that because of that comment, they have a civilized, it's not a tense conversation about race. It's pretty interesting that hear them talk about where they grew up and all the systemic racism they would see in their areas and how, you know, how it would affect them growing up. I'm kind of surprised of how civilized this conversation ended up being, because it could have been a whole lot more tense. It could have been a lot more awkward and could have really got everyone off on the wrong foot, and it would have been an interesting disaster, but you don't really want to come off as the big time racist when you've known someone 10 minutes and it's going to be on TV, you know?
You know, I wouldn't say that she was like the most impressive singer for me personally, but she was like really.
You know, I was 5 minutes away from filming this bit, and I was gonna rip into this guy from choosing to have his talking head in the bath while he was taking a bath. And now that I'm here in the bath with some bubbles, it's actually quite comfortable and relaxing. And I did not expect for this bit to turn out this way. And all the insulting things I had lined up, I'm not gonna say anymore. The acoustics are great. It's a bathroom, and I'm comfortable. I'm not as harsh as I would be in any other circumstance, you know? So, while I think it's weird that he chose the bathtub when they were in a nicely sized loft to do anything else and film anywhere else, I now understand the bathtub. Man. You were good. Good choice. End of bit.
I think you are against white people.
Really?
Yeah, I think you're very bitter.
Yikes. I sat through 16 minutes of these people doing absolutely nothing, you know? Nothing interesting being said, nothing dumb happening. I'm ending up looking like the idiot having to watch this. And we get to the last 5 minutes of the episode, and we get hit with this tense conversation about racism. You have this tense moment when she calls someone out for being a racist, for the system trying to keep him down. I mean, and he has every right to kind of feel like he's been held down, but it's a tense conversation that kind of ends up being really awkward, and you don't really want to watch it because it's it's just you don't want to hear these kind of conversations because you internally feel awkward about it, that you shouldn't be kind of infringing on this kind of privacy, you know? I got to give big ups to my homie Kevin over here. after the conversation, after he's had time to like think back on it, he's really mature about it, because he says like, I know she's from Alabama. She's told me her dad doesn't like African Americans, and I hope that hasn't impacted her negatively when she was growing up. And he really recognizes that she seems to be open-minded about everything, and like the conversations make it easier than someone who is racist and who is someone you wouldn't really want to have this conversation with if they had those kind of thoughts and legitimately believed them.
Help.
Hey, look at this idiot. She doesn't even know how to dial out of state. Can't use an egg beater? What a screw up.
Things are so new at her age, and everything was just so fascinating.
I mean, the end of the episode really focuses on Julie, just like how the beginning of the episode started, because it's really setting up the scenario of she's a young person. She's the youngest in the loft. They mentioned that. And she's kind of a fish out of water, moving from Alabama to New York can be a really big culture shock. And everything seems new to her. And one guy is so excited to kind of watch this experience happen because, you know, she's going to learn so much, and he is excited to watch that happen. And I'd love to watch someone move from rural wherever to New York and just watch them try to like figure things out. I mean, she had issues with the subway earlier in the episode too, you know? All in all, this episode was, you know, there wasn't much to it. It's a very bland episode, except for two moments, which were really the conversations about race. And, you know, you had stuff about people they went out for the first time as a loft, or like housemates, but it wasn't an exciting or interesting, you know, moment. It wasn't anything much to it. It just sort of happened, you know. Thank you so much for watching this episode of Human Garbage. I'm glad you watched me return to my flagship series, or as some people call it, a desperate cry for help.